How do you grow in a healthy way? And should growth always be the goal? Well, let's talk about that today. Good afternoon, Thomas Joyner with Business on Purpose here. We get this question all the time when coaching. Thomas, how do we grow the right way? And it's a great question because what it implies is that there's a wrong way to grow, right? Too many businesses just focus on top line revenue. Bring more in, bring more in, bring more in. And that's most certainly a part of it. But top-line revenue fails to set you up for responsible long-term growth. Oftentimes, when revenue is the sole focus of growth, you can sacrifice long-term success for short-term spikes in sales. So how do we grow in a healthy way? Well, here are 4 ways we encourage clients to move towards sustainable long-term growth. The first one, figure out if you even should grow and by how much. Now, this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I had a conversation last week with a client and we discussed just this point. Because with more sales, typically comes more employees to manage that growth. That in turn means more training, more overhead, sometimes taking on more debt for service vehicles or machinery. It means more admin work and billing, more estimating and invoicing, right? And on and on and on it goes. It means 25% of everything that you're doing, you're now doing in addition to what you're currently doing. And so where does that time come from? Are you staying late? Are you hiring more of it out? And if you try and take that on with your current team, it means paying overtime, and that shrinks your margins. So is this what you really want? It's a valid question to ask. So often we think if revenues aren't growing, we're a failure as a business. And yet I applaud businesses who turn away more work as they realize sometimes that more's not always better. No, decide if you want to grow and by how much. I can't tell you how many businesses just throw a random number out without ever really understanding why they came up with that number. And it sounds good, but it hasn't been thought through. So know why you want to grow by 5, 10, 15, 20%, or even if you want to grow it all, and then move forward to the next step. So once you've decided you should, in fact, grow and understand how much you'd like to grow, it's time for the second step. Revisit your org chart to see if your current structure can support the growth. Most people have no clue why you build an org chart. They just say, well, it's just a picture of the structure we have in place. Wrong. What it should be is a picture of what the business should look like to hit your sales and profitability goals. So look at it. Break it down into monthly numbers, and can your current team support the growth? Do you need another salesperson, another admin to help with collection, scheduling, material ordering? Do you need a project manager to take some of the strain off of you so you can do more estimating and keep the jobs booked out further and work coming in? What do you need as a business to grow? Because here's what happens. They add and they add and they add to the workload of your employees, expecting them to do more, yet never realizing they're at capacity. You can't always expect your employees to take on more. Sometimes you just have to change it up. So if you change your org chart by hiring, you have to then go back and rerun your numbers to make sure you can maintain your margins. Making sure you have cash and maybe even setting it aside for those hires in a separate account to get out ahead. Get a few months ahead to make sure that you won't be going into the red each month after those hires are made. Your org chart has to reflect a business that can support the amount of revenue you want to do. Otherwise, you're looking at burnout for employees, and they will begin leaving for greener pastures, I promise you. All right, so once you decide on growth and review your org chart, it's time for step 3. Build in short-term metrics to measure growth and progress. So here's where the magic starts to happen, right? It doesn't all change at once, but what does progress look like? How can you measure it? What are the key performance indicators that you can measure along the way? Because revenue may not grow month 1, but is the team in place and are we making progress? How many more jobs do you need to estimate? How many more hours do you need to bill? And are you hitting those? It's why we push so hard for the 12-week plan, to build it out, to build out 3 main goals you need to hit. And then if you're missing the mark, you can adjust accordingly every 12 weeks. You can retrain and support as necessary to make sure that you are on track. Break it down into monthly goals, weekly goals to reach those numbers. It's not rocket science, but if you don't put a step-by-step plan together, I can promise you, you will not hit it. So put the plan in place to measure growth and progress and adjust as needed. Lastly, step 4, build in margin before your next growth campaign. I can't tell you how important this is. It's a must. Don't fall into the trap of realizing 15 or 20% growth and then just jumping into the next period of growth. No, give your team some time to adjust, some margin to make sure they're ready. And, everybody wants to hit their growth curve, and they want their growth curve to look exponential, but in reality, it should look more like a set of stairs. Some years, the growth needs to be intentionally less to make sure the foundation is in place for the next period of growth. Some years, it will be intentionally bigger, but when you give your team a chance to breathe, to celebrate, and to prepare, you give them a gift of margin. To retrain, make sure everyone is owning their roles and really grasping what they're being asked to do before expanding and setting your sights on hitting a higher mark. All right, so you have the 4 steps. But here's what it looks like in real life, as I did this with a client last week. We want to grow by 25%. We really think we can hit that, one of my clients said. And they said this as we're talking through some vision for them. And immediately in my head, right, I start kind of looking at the obstacles, but just wanted to ask some questions. Well, hey, how'd you come up with that number? I don't know. That's just what we want to do. I think we can do it. All right, let's look at the numbers and see what that means. So I started going through it all. That means you have to do $10,000 in revenue more a month. Can you do that with your current team? Again, going back to the org chart. No, I don't think we can hit that with our current team. We're going to need another crew, and we're going to need another van. Okay, great. What do we have to pay them? How much is the van? How much could that crew produce? Can you manage another team with your management structure? No, we'd probably need a PM, a project manager, to go around since I'm going to have to be estimating more. That's right. They're starting to get it. The wheels are starting to turn. Okay, so what do you need to estimate a week? And how many jobs does your service team need to hit to reach that goal? Well, we went back and forth until we had real metrics to make sure they were on it and had a realistic plan for how to hit that growth. We built in time to make adjustments, and they're out the door and on their way. But they had a plan. Now, they may hit it and they may not. They may go way past it and they may fall a little bit short, but I can tell you they had a plan. Had they not had a plan, they would not have stood a chance. They would have just been sitting there with their current team trying to grow more, and their margins would shrink and shrink and shrink, and their team would get more and more burned out. That's no way to run your business. So let me go back through those 4 steps real quick. 1, decide if you should grow and by how much. 2, review your org chart and hire to build the foundation if needed. Number 3, build in short-term metrics to check on progress. And number 4, allow for margin in between growth initiatives. That's it. That is the way to grow long-term in a responsible, healthy way. So go do it. Put your plan in place today. If we can help at all, please reach out. We'd love to connect with you and find a way for you to hit the growth numbers that you want for a long, long period. Not just to be a flash in the pan today and then take steps back along the way. As always, take a look at and subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube. We've got 3, 4, 5 pieces of content being added every single week. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great week.
Do you have a healthy business? Are you a healthy business owner? You can take the quiz right now. Just go to mybusinessonpurpose.com/healthy for the Healthy Owner Business Assessment. It's a beautifully designed assessment to walk you through different categories like vision, mission, values, clarity, and implementation. Also, the dynamics of your team, personality, and a variety of other general categories to help give you a score of the health of your business. Once complete, you'll have the range of your score along with an explanation video to help you understand some next steps into being liberated from the chaos of working on your business. So go to mybusinessonpurpose.com/healthy to take the assessment right now.